What is up, Madrid fans? Welcome back to another video on the channel where today I'm going to react to a video called Thierry Henry's incredible analysis of Real Madrid's offensive shape. Without any further ado, let's see what Thierry Henry has to say about Madrid.
New addition in the studio. You know why? Because what Thierry Henry wants, Thierry Henry gets.
Okay, I gotta just say something. Though I don't agree with some of these people's opinions like all the time, I just have to say that this trio, they have incredible chemistry together. For instance, like Jimmy Carragher, he's one of those football pundits that I don't agree with. Like, I would say 99.9% of the time, we are always on the opposite sides of the spectrum. And I guess a lot of people feel that way about Jamie Carragher. But yeah, I mean, it's fun. It's fun to see their chemistry, and they have incredible chemistry together. And there are a lot of joy to watch regardless.
Basically what it is we thought about, since Kate, you said I saw it. No, we thought about all the time, guys. We always talk about how the team is, but defensively, right from the start, we always show a team in their defensive shape. So Real Madrid, 4-3-1-2.
Yeah, this is the famous 4-3-1-2 or 4-4-2 diamond shape, like whatever you want to call it. This is the formation that we definitely use defensively speaking. How Thierry Henry thinks the shape like changes when it comes to our offensive type of play. All right, let's see what he has to say.
That when you have the ball, Real Madrid is never in a 4-3-1-2 when they are on the ball. As you're going to see here, when they are on the ball, they go into a 2-3-5. And why is that? Because obviously you need to have the width occupied. Bellingham usually take advantage of the run of the 2-9s. Carvajal is on the other side. But I call those guys the police officers. Those guys, Camavinga.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, it means Camavinga, Modric, and Valverde, right? Again, if I want to take a wild guess, because... Okay, so this formation is really interesting. I mean, he says 2-3-3-2, but it's basically, again, a 4-1-3-2. Again, it's a 4-4-2, right? But yeah, if we're talking about the width of the match and the width of the pitch that these players occupy, that's true. It's a 2-3-3-2. I get why he's saying that. And it's interesting that he calls them police officers, I would say, because it is Camavinga, Modric, and Valverde's job to prevent the opposition from creating counterattacks, right? And we see that all the time. Again, I'm just sharing my own thoughts. I'm kind of thinking out loud here. It's interesting that we have this kind of formation because sometimes Valverde also makes like forward runs in this space here. And obviously Jude Bellingham, he's got a reputation for like making those forward runs. And we saw that happen against a team like Barcelona and how it paid out. But in that case, it was more of a 4-3-3 formation. So it's interesting. Let's see how Henry decides to analyze it.
Let's say if the ball is on this side, Modric will come, Valverde, those two guys will have to deal with the long balls. So what you're trying to do is called offensive balance. You're trying to stop the counter right from the start.
Right, yeah.
Instead of a bit after.
That's true. I absolutely agree with that. I think he's 100% right in that case.
The first thing as a coach, would it be to be setting up like this to stop the counter-attack or to get 5 players in the attack?
Both, because you're trying to make sure that you have body forward, especially when you're Real Madrid. You need to throw body forwards. How are you going to find space? You need to have guys in between the line, especially him. Guys that are going to occupy the width of the field if you have a switch the ball. But they need to have guys also to play straight away, the 2-9s. But
it's interesting that he's talking about like switching the play using the width of the pitch, because we see that so many times happening. And that is when we have Cruz instead of Modric here. And Cruz, he's incredible when it comes to like sending these passes to Carvajal or like from the other side. I've never seen Valverde creating those kind of passes, but Modric is also able to create those kind of passes, you know, using the width of the match to either Garcia or Carvajal. That is, again, something that is absolutely true. Wow, Thierry Henry he's doing a brilliant job with this.
If you lose the ball, those 5 guys are dead.
Do you think they're using this system because of Bellingham?
I think that obviously not having maybe a proper nine, having Bellingham coming in, asking them to make those runs early on the outside, if Vinicius Junior or Rodrigo, wherever they're going to be on the side. But what it is they have 3 6s under to make sure that they can stop.
Okay, let me just say something. And one of the reasons that I've been saying that I think Joselu is a better alternative to Rodrigo is the fact that Joselu is able to keep defensive players of the opposition team as busy as he gets. And that basically creates an opportunity for Bellingham to make those forward runs and exploit this space that is behind them much easier. And that is something that Rodrigo is having trouble coping with, because Rodrigo, his profile, like, he doesn't have like enough physicality to do that. And even if you go and watch the second goal that we scored against Barcelona again, you can see Joselu again occupying two Barcelona midfielders. I think one of them is Aroja and the other one is Christensen. And that enables Jude Bellingham to make that forward run easier, and we all know what happened next. He was able to score that brilliant goal.
Rather, you prefer the two at the back and 3 in front, because a lot of teams will do 3 at the back, defenders, maybe one fullback gets involved, and they'd have 2 in midfield.
I'd rather have those guys and stop on the side, and they deal with, because when you're in that in that shape, sometimes you can be open on the outside if they ever play through you. You understand what I mean? So I'll try to show you.
I think that's a good question from Jamie Carragher, by the way. Wow, one thing that we agree on, right? I think one thing that really dictates if you want to have 3 players in that line or 2 players is, again, your style of play, how good your players are at pressing the ball. Because if you've got 3 players right here, you can stop the opposition play from using the spaces here, right? If they've got like really, really good wingers, let's say Man City, right? What you want to do is basically have 3 players here. But if they are not able to maybe create these spaces, or they don't have the right tools and they like the more narrow approach, I guess having 2, 3 here would be the better option here. So I think depending on the opposition team, that can also differ, and the players and the team can adapt to that situation. But it's very interesting, like this like the way that the players have like been chosen to occupy a certain space. I really, really find it fascinating.
Do it in the 4-1-2-3, but on the ball it's a 2-3-5, because you need to have the offensive balance to make sure that we can attack, throw bodies forward, but you're in position also to stop the counter. Now look at Real Madrid and how they do it.
Obviously, if you can't stop the counter, that is going to leave you exposed. And again, I wonder how it's going to work against those like really, really high level teams like Man City. Like, this is something that I'm really wondering at the moment if Ancelotti, like further down the road, is going to use the same approach against teams like Man City, or I don't know, those top tier teams like Bayern Munich, if we get to face them in Champions League or not. Because I'll tell you what, I don't think it actually worked against Barcelona, and I've said that now like in 3 videos. I respect Ancelotti a lot. You guys know that. I love him. I absolutely love what he has done with Madrid, and I think he has got like so many pros that make him the best manager for a team like Madrid. But that formation definitely did not work in the first 45 minutes against Barcelona, and that should be alarming for you. And you definitely have to come up with a contingency plan in case it happens again. So again, I can't help but think if it's going to happen again. So we'll see.
Team now, I would say, in European football is looking to get a front 5, not necessarily with the same players. You're talking about the fullbacks being high. Sometimes, if that's a Pep Guardiola team, it's the wingers there. So the actual setup's the same. It's just different players in different positions. And the slight difference might be whether you actually start with almost a back 3 and 2 in front, or whether you have a 2 and a 3 in front.
Whether if it's a 2 or a 3 or a 3 or a 2, you need to have that balance right. Because you all know, when you play against a good team, you often sometimes don't go and put pressure. So players needs to be between the lines like Bellingham, and you need to have the width occupied if you ever needs to switch the ball. But you cannot also be too open, because that's what they want. So you need to find the right balance. It's a 2-3-5, 3-2-5, however you want to call it. But that's what big teams try to do. It doesn't matter what shape they have when they defend. More often than not, they're in that shape. City.
Obviously, I think one thing that you're missing is that, yeah, they're talking about like these big teams. Well, one thing that we have to keep in mind is that these big teams also have the right tools to keep possession of the ball, right? They've got the right midfielders. Why isn't a team like, let's say, Manchester United able to do the same thing? Because they don't have the right tools. The player profiles and the kind of players that they have are not able to keep possession of the ball that easily, right? So it's a high risk, high reward shape, I would say, because again, it definitely has got its weaknesses, and but it's a brilliant way of using fullbacks. Like, one thing that I have to say is that when we look at the history of football and how it has like changed with the passage of time, the role that the fullbacks have played in football teams has changed drastically. Like, when you look at the kind of fullbacks and the definition of a fantastic fullback that we had like 10, 15 years ago, it has definitely changed now. I think one of the managers, like whether we want to accept it or not, that really, really changed the definition of a fullback was Pep Guardiola. And then other managers decided to like get inspired from that and apply that to their own teams. And now we have got, like, for instance, Carvajal. He is the right kind of fullback for making those kind of runs. But as we said, you have to have like a player like Toni Kroos who's able to create those long passes for a player like Carvajal, right? So you need to definitely have certain tools to apply this kind of play. Regardless, it's a high risk, high reward, as I said, formation. It was absolutely great. I gotta say, this video, it was incredible. Nice job, Thierry Henry. He did a fantastic job explaining the shape. And I think it was, in the beginning, I was like, really? Are they going to do a good job with explaining what Madrid is doing? But Thierry Henry, he knocked it out of the park. It was incredible. I really, really enjoyed watching this video, guys. Thank you so much for sticking with me until the end. Definitely share your thoughts on the formation that Madrid has. And which team do you think in the future can create and cause us some troubles because of this formation? And do you think we're going to have this formation against big teams like Man City or Bayern Munich or even Barcelona, the second like away match that we have against Barcelona down the season? Thank you so much for sticking with me until the end of this video. Consider subscribing to the channel Real Madridista. Here I provide content about Real Madrid. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Leave a like if you did, and I'll see you guys in the upcoming videos. Take care of yourself.